Okay, we are live. Welcome back, folks. Mobile Geezer here with Friday Night Tech Talk. Last week we did it from Mike's Simply Your Device channel, which we hadn't done in quite a while. And we had Mike and Will and myself on the three original Friday Night Tech Talk guys. And it was really great having all three of us on, having the same arguments that we've had for the past 4 years, basically. It was pretty awesome. So, glad you guys are here. Let me go back to the comments. First one in here at 7:02 p.m. was Brian. Brian was good and early. He loves his weekend, I think. And he likes Friday Night Tech Talk too on Fridays. And Elno is here at 7:53. So glad you're both back. Two of our great regulars. Anybody else that wants to type something in the comments and let me know you're there, you feel free. And since we're back to the Mobile Geezer channel, of course, I'm broadcasting live on Facebook and on YouTube. I have two Facebook accounts that you can watch on, straight under George Hayes or under Mobile Geezer, and all three are simulcast at the same time. So if you're new here, we do this every week. We talk about some of the tech stories that have come up since last Friday, and we've been doing this for a while, and every week I try to get all the show notes up on my webpage. So let me show you that. Let me go share screen, show you we can follow along in the show notes with the articles. So it's on mobilegeezer.wordpress.com. Click on today's date, you'll get just tonight's show notes. And while we're here, a little preview, as I always give you. We've got two EU stories. EU deciding if iMessage and Bing eligible for Digital Markets Act. That's on The Verge, and we'll be explaining what the Digital Markets Act is as we go along. And right behind it, another story about that. They identified 6 companies as gatekeepers, which pretty much means iMessage and Bing will be eligible, I believe. But we'll see. Both stories came out, I believe, yesterday, so we'll get to that and explain a little bit about that. And Will's going to love this. Yeah, Mike is the one who originally pointed me to the story. So I said, bye-bye Pixel Pass. That was on 9 to 5 Google. Google has canceled Pixel Pass in less than 2 years. So no surprise there. It's just Google being Google, verifying what Will always says about Google. So we'll go over that. Then another one Mike pointed me to. Mediatek successfully develops first chip using TSMC's 3-nanometer process. So that's on Sam Mobile. We'll take a look at that story. And then a lot of people thought Android 14 was going to come out this week because of the supposed pixel drop at the beginning of the month. Didn't get any drop. So I thought Android 14 this week, maybe next month with Pixel 8 on Phone Arena. We'll talk about that. Some people will probably be disappointed about that. And finally, everything about the Pixel 8 Pro, so-called slipped out by Android police. And I think Google lets a lot of things slip out these days, so we'll certainly take a look at that. So let me stop screen for a minute. And Matt, all the way from Nashville, is over here. How you doing, Matt? Glad to have you in here. Yeah, Brian's up in New York. And Eleanor and I are both in Tennessee. So we'll see if any of our other regulars drop in. I know Renz is usually watching, but he's also at work at Saturday morning in the Philippines, and he's usually quite busy. Anyway, glad you're here, Matt. All right, so I don't know if Ted or Will is going to join us. I'm sure Mike and Patty are outdoor dashing, making that money to get some more phones. So if Will drops in or Ted comes in, I will certainly let you guys know. Meanwhile, I'll start presenting the stories from this week's show notes. So, I'm going to share. Yeah, I'm getting a little hesitation on the system tonight, so hopefully it won't be too bad, but just wanted to let you guys know. So we're going to start off EU deciding if iMessage is being eligible for Digital Markets Act. So let's go take a look at The Verge. And this was the day before yesterday. iMessage and Bing avoid strict DMA rules for now. Yeah, since we got two stories the same day, I don't know that they avoided it, but we'll go over it and see. The European Commission has launched investigations to determine if Apple and Microsoft services should be subject to strict DMA, Digital Markets Act, obligations. So let's put this in reader view. Like I said, I try to come up with mostly stories that you guys don't see all over the place, and this is not a big week. Starting Tuesday will be our big week with Apple. Okay, Apple and Microsoft have managed to temporarily prevent iMessage and Bing being subjected to obligations under the EU's strict new Digital Markets Act. So I gather they want to avoid this very badly. Instead, the European Commission announced on Wednesday that it's opened 4 market investigations into Bing, Edge, Microsoft Advertising, so 3 Microsoft, and iMessage, to determine whether they should be designated as core platform services under the Digital Markets Act. And that's what they're trying to avoid, being called core platform services. I think it means they have to open these things up to other companies so they can use them too. So we'll see. The DMA, Digital Markets Act, one of several new EU laws designed to restrict the power of tech companies and help create a level playing field. So yeah, it's about creating a level playing field for all the companies. Creates a host of new obligations for large tech companies. Messaging services like iMessage are required to offer other companies some level of interoperability if they're deemed to be big and important enough. And I think they are, because the next story, I think, will pretty much say that. Bing would be obligated to share certain data upon request and offer a choice of other search engines if it receives an official designation. So that's what they're trying to avoid. Apple believes iMessage isn't popular enough in Europe to warrant falling under DMA restrictions here. Good luck with that. Both Microsoft and Apple have reportedly argued that Bing and iMessage aren't popular enough in Europe to warrant being covered by the Digital Markets Act, despite the Commission claiming that they meet the required thresholds. They are so big, how could they not meet the thresholds? However, the companies offer other so-called core platform services that will be covered. These include Microsoft's Windows operating system, Apple's Safari browser, iOS operating system, and App Store. So they're looking at a lot of pieces of both companies. The regulations' other gatekeepers, and we have that in our next story, include Alphabet, Amazon, ByteDance, and Meta. So all 6 are considered gatekeepers. We'll see how they explain that in the next story. Those designated as core platform services today, this was on Wednesday, will need to comply with the rules by March 2024. In a statement provided to Reuters, Apple said it had privacy and security concerns regarding the DMA. Yeah, I bet you they do. And that its focus will be on how we mitigate these impacts and continue to deliver the very best products and services to our European customers. Yeah, we know what department wrote that. Microsoft also told the publication that it welcomed the Commission's investigation while accepting its designation as gatekeeper. I'll bet you they do. The EU says the investigation should take a maximum of 5 months to complete. If it decides these services should be regulated, then they'll face a later August 2024 deadline to comply. So they haven't strictly come down hard on them yet. I guess they have to finish the investigations. So let's get out of this. Get out of this one. Let's see, nothing new in the comments. So we're going to the next story, which is continuing basically the same story, just a little more. EU names Apple, Meta, Microsoft among 6 gatekeepers facing strict DMA guidelines. And there's the 6: Apple, Amazon, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, ByteDance, Meta, and Microsoft. Oh my. All right, into reader mode, get rid of some of these commercials. Okay. Good, reader mode was giving me trouble before. The DMA, okay, this is just, on Wednesday, the European Commission designated 6 gatekeepers under the Digital Markets Act: Alphabet, Amazon, Apple, ByteDance, Meta, and Microsoft. The Digital Markets Act defines gatekeepers as platforms that have a significant impact on the internet market. Yeah, I said they all qualify. In total, 22 core platform services provided by gatekeepers have been designated. According to the announcement, the 6 gatekeepers will now have 6 months to ensure full compliance with the DMA obligations for each of their designated core platform services. So it seems like, okay, we have identified you guys as big guys that need to be regulated, but now we're going to go into your apps one by one and see if we can apply some more rules to them. That's what it sounds like to me. In order to be determined a gatekeeper, a company or service has to have an annual turnover of over 7.5 billion euros in the EU, a market cap of over 75 billion euros, and 45 million monthly active users in the EU, among other factors, according to The Verge. I think all of them easily make that. But just because a company isn't currently on the list doesn't mean they won't be added in the future. For example, Apple's iMessage isn't on the list. Like I said, they're breaking them down. But the commission said it's investigating whether the service meets the requirements for regularization, which we talked about in the last story. The Verge reports that this investigation should take about 5 minutes, which we already said. More choice for consumers, fewer obstacles for smaller competitors. The Digital Markets Act will open the gates to the internet. Thierry Breton, the Commissioner for Internal Market, said in a statement, with today's designation, we are finally reining in the economic power of 6 gatekeepers, giving more choice to consumers and creating new opportunities for smaller, innovative tech companies. So again, they're trying to make a level playing field. Thanks, for instance, to interoperability, sideloading, real-time data portability, and fairness. It was high time that Europe sets the rules of the game up front to ensure digital markets are fair and open. It seems like the EU has gotten better at this than anybody else in the world, and they kind of lead everybody else in trying to make things fair and even for everybody. So I guess I got to give them credit for that. This is just one example of the many ways the EU is regulating tech. The EU adopted one of the most valuable pieces of legislation to protect people's online privacy and data, the Europe's General Data Protection Regulation. Yeah, we all remember that from 2 years ago. I thought it was 2 years ago, 2016. Didn't realize it was that long ago. And since then, it used the GDPR to strengthen online privacy and data protections for EU users through regulation. So, just wanted to let you guys know there's a lot of investigation into these big companies, into the EU. And like I said, the EU seems to be really trying to make it a level playing field. So generally, I'd say helping all of us consumers. Okay. Brian, thank you as always, brother. You're always very faithful. Let's see, what else Brian say? Pixel failed at Super Chat. Had to pay with Samsung. Oh, okay, I got you. You know, Pixels have the weirdest problems. That is weird. Thank you, Brian. Always very much appreciated, sir. All right, let's go on to the next story. And I just said, bye-bye Pixel Pass. This was on 9 to 5 Google. And if you remember, they announced this 2 years ago, but we'll see that in the story. But they didn't even make the 2 years. Pixel Pass, why it might have died, and a reminder not to buy solely on promises of the future. I'd say especially if they're Google promises of the future. It's by Ben Schoon, and I guess you all know I like his writing. So let's go into read review. Oh, and this was published on September 3rd. See how quickly read review. Okay, there it is. All right, this week, Google announced that it would discontinue its Pixel Pass subscription service after less than 2 years. This is pretty bad, I think. Worse than what Google usually does, in my opinion. Before subscribers could actually reap some of the benefits of the subscription that they thought they had been paying for. Yeah, and that's the problem. Pixel Pass debuted alongside the Pixel 6 series, so just under 2 years ago. The duo that effectively served as a reboot to Google smartphones by bringing a new chip and a clear new focus. The subscription, which started at, get this, $45 a month and was reasonably compelling. So he thinks it was pretty reasonable price for everything you're getting, which we'll see. Subscribers were promised YouTube Premium, Google Play Pass, Google One storage, a protection plan, and the cost of their phone. And we'll see it broken down into what you're paying for it later on. The real selling point wasn't the bundle, though. It was the idea that in 2 years, you'd get the latest Pixel with that monthly payment in mind. So we're not even making the 2 years because the latest Pixel 8 is not out yet. That was 22 months ago. As of this week, Pixel Pass has been discontinued, with Google neither offering the subscription on future Pixel releases nor continuing the offer for existing subscribers, so nobody gets it. Anyone who was waiting on that imminent upgrade, and boy, we're really close to the Pixel 8, is left without that part of the deal, which I think stinks. Google isn't leaving users without anything, though. Now he's going to break down some numbers for us. They still get to keep the phone they paid for, isn't that nice, at the end of the 2-year term. And all the bundled subscriptions fulfilled their job and will continue to be discounted. Plus, subscribers get a $100 credit to put toward a future Google hardware purchase, whether that's a Pixel phone or something else, and doing the math, it works out. Now, I think he's going to give us the math. Assuming you've subscribed to Pixel Pass for the base Pixel 6 at $45 a month back in October 2021, when the device first launched, you would have spent $990 to date. Without the bundles discount, you would have spent around $1,100 over the past 22 months. So you saved a little money, roughly $25 a month on the phone payment. Google's financing is on a 36-month term, though. So this is assuming paying off the device in 24 months. You think they would have put it on the same monthly cycle, but, you know. $11.99 a month on YouTube Premium, $2 a month on Google One, $5 a month on Google Play Pass, and $7 a month on a hardware protection plan. Ultimately, Pixel Pass did save its subscribers a bit of money, but they broke their promise again. Why did Pixel Pass die? It likely boils down to the fact that Google would have had to increase the price of the subscription for this incoming generation. YouTube Premium has raised its cost, that's true, and the Pixel 8 is also rumored to see a minor price bump. It's likely the plan wasn't all that popular either, given it was only available in the US and didn't reflect the frequent discounts on Pixel phones. That's true. You wait a few weeks and you start getting discounts. It doesn't take much to realize that you'll be able to get a Pixel for much less if you buy it during a sale. Pixel Pass never saw any discounts. Well, I think that's just bad on Google's part. But whatever the reason, Pixel Pass serves as another reminder that you shouldn't buy into products solely on promises of the future, especially at Google. A lot of folks are frustrated with the death of Pixel Pass because the big selling point, future upgrades, is going unfulfilled. Yeah, I think that's terrible. And they're right to feel that way. However, the subscription did ultimately end up saving folks some money. He keeps reminding us of that, which was also part of the appeal. Google, despite sometimes ending services the right way, yeah, not this time, still has a tendency to pull the plug on things unexpectedly, yeah, right, or for reasons that are less than obvious. Yeah, you think they should at least feel obligated to tell us, but they don't. There are exceptions to the rule. You should feel comfortable buying Pixel smartphones on the promise of software updates, for instance. But when putting up your money, you should be careful not to buy something solely on something that might not be fulfilled for a while or ever. Good point. Anyway, he did try to justify the savings, so I'll give him that. It still stinks, though. Let's get out of here. Get out of here. Stop screen for a minute. Let's see. Okay. And Mario, glad to see you, brother. Glad you're here. So we got Mario from Philly in here. And let's see. Okay. Glad you're here, brother. Hope you're doing well. All right, I'm watching for Ted or anybody to come in, but not so far. So we'll continue on. And of course, it's probably going to be a fairly quick show with just me. So back to sharing screen. Back to the show notes. And on to our next story. Yeah, if Will was here, he would say, see, I told you so. This is what they always do. And he's right. That's the sad part. As I said, Mike turned me on to this story. Mediatek, first to use TSMC's 3 nanometer processor. So pretty cool for Mediatek. This was on Sam Mobile. So Mediatek beats Qualcomm and Samsung, develops first 3 nanometer smartphone processor. And let's see, this was yesterday. This was updated. All right, let's go into Reader View, get rid of some of these ads. Assuming Reader View pops on. Reader View's been giving me a little problem tonight. I think it gave me a problem with this one before when I was trying to test it out too. All right, so I'm going to have to go down reading and leave the ads, and if it pops into Reader View, we're good. If not, I'll just read the story. Mediatek made a surprise announcement today. The company said, oh, there it goes. The company said it has successfully developed a flagship smartphone processor using TSMC's 3 nanometer semiconductor chip fabrication process. The Taiwanese firm has officially become the world's first company to announce a 3 nanometer smartphone chipset, which is undoubtedly impressive. And I didn't realize that Mediatek was in Taiwan, so they're in the right place to have a deal with TSMC. Well, Mediatek didn't reveal the name or specifications of the chipset. Its first 3 nanometer chip will be used in flagship smartphones and tablets. The 3 nanometer Dimensity chip will go into mass production early next year. And I gather that, even I've said the Dimensity chip is the best chip they ever made and is on a par with the others. So I'll give them credit. So now they're ahead of the others. So we can expect smartphones with that chip to appear sometime in the second half of 2024. Mediatek and TSMC have been partners for a long time, and TSMC fabricates most Mediatek Dimensity chips. You wonder, can they just walk down the block to see each other? That could be. Mediatek said chips made using TSMC's 3 nanometer process node offer up to 18% faster performance at the same power. That's pretty good. Or 32% reduced power consumption at the same speed as 5 nanometer chips. So either way, that's pretty good. More importantly, TSMC's 3-nanometer process node is claimed to offer up to 60% improved logic density. So all the way around, quite nice improvements. Pardon me. These improvements in combination with ARM's new CPU and GPU cores should provide a sizable jump from current generation flagship smartphone processors from Mediatek, Qualcomm, and Samsung. Joe Chen, president of Mediatek, said, "We are committed to our vision of using the world's most advanced technology to create cutting-edge products that improve our lives in meaningful ways." TSMC's consistent and high-quality manufacturing capabilities enable Mediatek to fully demonstrate its superior design in flagship chipsets, offering the highest performance and quality solutions to our global customers and enhancing the user experience in the flagship market. I guess that has to be true. While Mediatek is the first to announce a 3-nanometer chip, Apple is expected to be the world's first company to actually ship 3-nanometer chips. That's right, Apple's been talking about it since last year. The iPhone 15 series is expected to launch later this month with the 3-nanometer Apple A17 series processor. 5 days from now? Qualcomm and Samsung are expected to unveil their first 3-nanometer chips by the end of 2024, so they are a little bit behind. And we can start seeing devices based on these chips in early 2025. Samsung is rumored to be working on a Dream Exynos chip. I don't think anybody's looking hard for that. But who knows, they may come up with a good one. With a 3-nanometer design and a powerful AMD RDNA-based Xclipse GPU. It will be used in the Galaxy S25 series. So I guess we got a little over a year to go waiting for that. So that's pretty exciting for Mediatek. Good for them, I think. Okay, yeah, I have one Mediatek phone right now. I think it's the Moto G Power, I believe. Not their highest chip, though. Okay, nothing new in the comments. Oh, wait, here we go. We had Mario. Let me stop screening for a second. Now, here's LPN 201. Glad to have you here. Welcome, as always. Hi, everyone. I have tested out Mediatek chips for years. Every single one failed miserably. And that's why I remember Mike was saying last week how I avoided Mediatek chips for a long time. Once they got to the Dimensity 9000, that's when I think they got good. We'll see if this one is any different. Can't tell. I'm not a fan of their laggy, stuttering, slow chips. Yeah, I think if you happen to pick up, now, of course, not the top-end chip, but if you happen to pick up the Moto G Power, you might find that even though it's a lower chip, it's pretty good. So it's nowhere near as laggy as, say, the Galaxy A54, which, put them side by side, the A54 has much more stuttering and that kind of thing. So, but thanks for your insight. We appreciate that. So, none of the other guys have come in yet. Back to sharing screen for the stories. Back to the show notes. Okay. So, what I said was, thought Android 14 this week, maybe next month with the Pixel 8. And this was on Phone Arena. Then one of the guys online had produced a video, I can't remember who it was, yesterday. And he really thought it was going to come, no, Tuesday, because he thought, because Monday being a holiday in America, they were going to get the drop on Tuesday, and he figured it was going to be with Android 14. Well, neither happened. And some of this may explain why. So, waiting for Google's stable Android 14 release, you may have to wait some more. And this was 2 days ago. And this is, here we go. This is by Adrian Diaconescu. Yeah, I did pretty good with that. This guy writes a lot and he does a good job for Phone Arena too. I didn't know I could pronounce his name that well. At least I think I pronounced it well. Right, back into Reader View. It asked me how the battery is on the Moto G Power. I think it's pretty good. It's not, it's not going to get you more than, maybe a day and a half. Maybe. I haven't tried to push it that far. Remember, I switch phones all the time. But I think the battery life is pretty good. Okay. So let's go over here. Drop this into Reader View. See how quickly it comes on. There we go. Okay. Because Monday was Labor Day, everyone expected Google to drop its latest monthly update. That's what I said. That's what the other guy said in his video. For eligible Android devices on Tuesday. But because it's September, the mobile tech world was anticipating a more momentous announcement and rollout than your typical collection of security patches, bug fixes, and minor new features. Unfortunately, it looks like Android 14 is not yet ready for prime time for unknown reasons, and they're not telling us why. And the stable deployment of the newest OS version may have been pushed back no less than 4 weeks. And now we're talking October, just when the announcement is. Although it's not entirely deontological to talk about a delay when Google didn't officially confirm a release date in the first place, all evidence and history and common sense pointed in a clear direction. A quick history lesson and a look ahead. Android 13, for instance, achieved theoretical stability on August 5th, 2022, following an initial beta release in late April, while 2020's Android 11 became generally available on September 8th, after a beta program kickoff just 3 months earlier. Of course, there was also Android 12, which reached the message in stable form in early October 2021, but with an initial beta build available for courageous users this April. Google's intention to spread the Android 14 love to as many people as possible before unveiling the Pixel 8 handset Duo was obvious. So there's the timeline. According to Michelle Rahman, who might be the most knowledgeable non-Google employee about all things Android on the face of the earth, September 5th was in fact the date planned by the search giant for the official release of its next mobile OS version. So that would have been Tuesday, far out in advance. With it in the rearview mirror, the new plan reportedly calls for a stable rollout starting October 4th. And we know that's the Pixel 8 day, which just so happens to be the recently confirmed launch date of the Pixel 8 and Pixel 8 Pro. Why isn't Google simply releasing Android 14 between now and then? We have no idea. They're not telling us. And neither does Rahman. But such a lengthy last-minute delay certainly seems to suggest big trouble was identified in the 11th hour. I would agree to that. Alternatively, and I have to say, as a guy who was a developer, a programmer for years, if I'd found out just when I was getting ready to turn a program over to production that all of a sudden I had a big problem, I would do the same thing. I would probably let somebody know why, but I could see you don't want to turn over something bad, especially with Google's track record. Alternatively, this could be a sign that Big G is treating Android stability more seriously than ever before. Let's hope. Looking to polish the latest OS build to near perfection rather than extending beta testing to millions of unsuspecting users. Well, that would be nice if that's true. Either way, it sounds like there's not much you can do besides wait until October 4th. Of course, that date could prove inaccurate, or it might be revised too, as Google continues to work behind the scenes to get everything ready but it's probably best not to expect any movement on the stable release front by the end of September. Yeah, better safe than sorry. Don't get your hopes up, in other words. What about OnePlus and everyone else? As pointed out by Raman, it remains to be seen if the company's change of plans will mess with the rollout schedules of other companies as well. OnePlus, for instance, jumped the gun last week to announce its Android 14-based Oxygen OS 14 update would come to unspecified devices on September 25th, which may or may not be possible now. So that tells you that nobody told OnePlus that there was a problem until, like it said earlier, till the last minute. So that gives more fuel to the fact that, yeah, they found something big problem at the last minute. Okay. While Google has undoubtedly given some of its major hardware making partners complete and total freedom to work on modifying and optimizing new Android versions, even before they reach stability in recent years, it would be pretty awkward if a third-party smartphone maker were to beat the search giant to the official deployment punch, especially by more than a week. So if OnePlus actually made good on that date. Instead, we presume Google's delay will make OnePlus and other OEMs push back their own planned rollouts until October 4th, or more likely a little later. That includes Samsung and Xiaomi as well. So this is bad news for the entire Android using community. That is very, very true. So let me get out of this. So that's the bad news for the week, I guess. Stop screen, back to the comments. Okay, Brian, if OnePlus gets it before the Pixel, there will be an outrage. Yeah, I can totally agree with that. That's right. LP and 201 agrees with you too. Sure it would. But like I said, I think that just added fuel to the fire that OnePlus didn't even know that they were having problems until after their announcement. So we'll see. Okay, nothing else new. So back, I think I've got one more story. Back to the show notes. Okay, and this was the biggie all over the place. Was it yesterday, I guess? Google lets Pixel 8 Pro in all its glory slip out. In quotes, slip out. Because you know how Google has been letting us see everything, accidentally letting us see things. So let's go on Android Police and take a look at this. And this was from 3 days ago. Latest Google Pixel 8 Pro leak shows the phone from every single angle. The leak confirms the physical SIM tray is here to stay, because we thought they might be using an eSIM, but no. So this one has some things in the story that when I use Reader View, they disappear and don't show up. So I'm going to have to leave it regular, and I'll show you why when we get down to it. So there's Pixel 8 right there. You can see the new camera bar. Okay. In less than a month, the Google Pixel 8 series will debut alongside other Pixel hardware at the company's October 4th event. The phones have leaked several times in the last few months, detailing all the key features and specs. As we enter the final few weeks before the Pixel 8's launch, expect the leaked floodgates to open truly. Just recently, Google inadvertently gave the first look at the Pixel 8 Pro in porcelain. And now, the flagship Pixel's listing accidentally, I say quotes, went live on the Pixel Simulator website, providing a 360-degree look at the phone from all angles. Let me take a quick sip here. Pardon me. The simulator showcased the Pixel 8 Pro's design in all its glory in 3 colors: sky, licorice, and porcelain. It also revealed the location of the microphone's USB-C port and power and volume keys, and confirmed the addition of a temperature sensor, which we'll see that, on the rear camera bar. It will be interesting to see what features Google offers using the temperature sensor. Yeah, everybody's wondering about that. Heard Jaime Rivera mention it the other day. He was wondering further a little bit. There were rumors of Google skipping the physical SIM card slot on the Pixel 8 and taking the eSIM route, at least in the US, but the renders in the simulator show this won't be the case, with the SIM tray being in the same location as the Pixel 7. So that'll make people like Mike very happy. Google has since removed the Pixel 8 Pro from its simulator, but the damage has already been done. Yeah, I don't think that's damage. I think that's advertising, if it's me. Additionally, and this is the sky shade right here, rumors were previously referring to this color as sky blue. He also shared screenshots of what appears to be the Pixel 8's home screen with different wallpapers, which leaked a few months before. Now, let's see if that other one, that is one I wanted to show you about the guy who released it on Twitter, and it was showing up sometimes, and sometimes it wasn't. So let me see if I can get it. Here we go. Yeah, Michelle Rahman. Now so he put this on, not Twitter, X, sorry. No way it happened again. Google themselves leaked the Pixel 8 Pro. I agree 100%. You can see a full 360-degree view of the phone here, confirming the colors, licorice, porcelain, and sky, as well as the components like the temperature sensor. So if we click on this, this will take us to X, to that post. Just have to have a little patience. Okay, now if we click on that post, now we can flip through. So this is the front still of the Sky Pixel 8 Pro. And now we can look at the back. Okay, see, still sky color. And there is the temperature sensor right at the end of the camera bar. So this does give us a pretty good look at it. And this was all from that Pixel simulator. And the next one will show us the next color. And this was the porcelain one. Now you get a real good look here. You can see the camera bar very nicely. And then we go over once more, we should see the licorice one. And there's the licorice one. So that's why I definitely wanted to click on that image, because it pulled us right over here where we could see everything. So pretty cool. So let's get out of X. Okay. Google has sent, we said that already. Additionally, leaker post-big, I read that already too. Given the way Google itself has been inadvertently leaking its upcoming Pixel phones, expect them to show up a few more times before their official unveiling on October 4th. Wouldn't be a bit surprised, but at least we got very, very good looks at everything in that one. So that's my last story. Let's come back over here. Let's see. Brian, Will throwing apple juice on the Android Fire and it's blowing up. Yeah, well, Will tells you, like them canceling that program, it's exactly what Will said would happen, and that's what always happens. LPN 201. Just hoping the 8 doesn't overheat during 4K recording. Yeah, I know. You know what's funny? Who was it? Big Dog out in Vegas. He had 2 or 3 Pixel 7 Pros in a row up until about January. They all overheated like crazy. Then he got, I think he's on his 4th one, and now he's making videos in the car like he always does for 10 minutes in 4K, not overheating at all. So it's very weird. And we're just hoping the 8 doesn't overheat during 4K recording. That was a big problem a couple of interactions ago. Still stings thinking about it. I understand that. A lot of people have problems. Hey, Damone, glad to have you here, brother. It's tomorrow morning for you, I believe. It should be, what, about 2 in the morning for you, I think? I believe he's in London, so glad to have you here. So I just got through all the stories, and it was kind of quick tonight. It's 8:45, but not bad for me being by myself. Glad you dropped in, Damone. Brian says, come on. Why are you not showing up? Okay. No, it's just reacting very slowly. Brian said, it's the crappy modem. Signal strength is a big factor with the overhead. Yeah, Brian had a lot of issues with his. I remember that. So he would be the expert on this stuff, and so would Big Dog, of course. And anyway, my regular Pixel 7 haven't had much issues. I think Mike he's got the regular Pixel 7. He had his overheat one day when I was thinking Devlin was in England. No, he's in California. Okay. Shows how confusing an old man can be. All right. Oh, good. It's good and early for you. That's good. So, and Brian does it again. Brian, thank you so much. You're very, very faithful. Yeah, things are just hesitating a little bit. Thank you as always, Brian. So, yeah, let's hope we don't have all the overheating issues and that they've got it right this time. I mean, maybe that's a good reason to hold back Android 14 also. So we'll find out, guys. So that's it for today. None of the other guys dropped in. Hopefully somebody will next week. But I'm glad you guys were here. And let's always remember we all do better when we love each other. You guys have a very great and blessed weekend. And we will see you next week. Glad you all came by. Now it's pregnant pause time.